Hi there, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be delving into the dark and moody world of Dracula. I'll show you how to create a haunting cover page for your reading journal using a bunch of mixed media, including soft pastels, liquid chrome and gouache. Usually doesn't all go in hand, so let's see how those materials take to the Archer and Olive paper. So let's get started. Now, in a previous video, I unboxed the Archer and Olive Halloween box, which revealed some blood red moon spooky goodness. And I was so inspired by those products that it prompted me to make a Dracula reading journal, which is what I'm going to be starting today. I'm going to be starting with a cover page and show you guys what I'm doing, and then hopefully it's going to inspire you to not only use the Archer and Olive notebooks, but to change the colour of the white pages. So to create my cover, I'm going to be using an A5 Archer and Olive notebook. You can use any Archer and Olive dot grid notebook. It's just obviously I want the Dracula theme, so I'm going to be using the special edition one from the Halloween 2024 box. I'm also going to be using the dip pen from the Halloween box as well, but the tip is a school nib, which didn't come with the set, but it's my favourite tip that I like to use at the moment because I just find it doesn't scratch the page and I can get the details that I want without too much mess with the inks and things. So I'll be using a dip pen. I'll be using a couple of paintbrushes as well. I'll be using a 3/8 angle shader by Princeton Velvet Touch. And I'll also be using a round zero Velvet Touch Princeton as well for possibly some small details. But I might be able to get away with just using the angle shader. I'll also be using the Molotow liquid chrome. This is the fat one, but the nib doesn't really matter because I'm going to try and get this out onto a palette and use it with the dip pen. So it doesn't really matter what size, but that's what I'm using to try and get the silver effect inside the book. With the paintbrushes, I'm going to be using some Holbein gouache, Alizarin Crimson 0501. A Holbein artist gouache. You can use acrylic gouache if you want, if you're going to be doing what I'm doing, but it is a beautiful red blood shade. I can see it on camera as well. It's already matching what I want. Then the other material I'm going to be using is this. This is a Sennelier soft pastel number 376. That's a half stick one. You can get full stick ones. So yeah, a little bit of an interesting mixed media. I'm also going to be needing a palette and some water. So with all that being said, let's get into using these materials and see how they work together. The other thing that we'll be needing is some fixative, otherwise there's going to be pastel absolutely everywhere. I tend to like the Sennelier one, but you can use whatever fixative you have to hand or that you can get hold of. In case you haven't seen the unboxing video, I'll just quickly tell you about this. This is the Blood Red Moon cover. It's embossed with the trees silhouettes. It's on vegan leather. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. The bats on the back as well. And it's got 160 GSM paper, dot grid paper. People typically use these for bullet journaling, but I like to use them as sketchbooks and all sorts of things. And this one's obviously going to be a reading journal. You get an elastic band and a pen loop, as well as 2 bookmarks. And on the opening page, when you open up the book, you get these beautiful silver bats, which I'm going to use as part of my cover, which is this. I'm going to leave a link to my Patreon where you can download this yourselves if you want to use it. You could get rid of the fonts that I've used, and then you can just use the bats in the trees. But I've managed to match the bats up, and I'm actually going to turn these bats silver to hopefully match those. So yeah, I'll leave a link to this on my Patreon, so if you guys want to do the same thing, you can do. So that will be available to all free members, so you just all you have to do is join for free on my Patreon, and then you'll have access to whatever I put on my Patreon for free. So yeah, I'll leave that on there. I won't leave that side because that's obviously Archer and Olive's design, but you can hopefully match it up to that one if that's what you want to do. So I've gone ahead and drawn this out and inked it in to speed up the process, otherwise this will be a very long video. So the first thing we're going to do is use some gouache, and I'm going to paint this tree branch red. Now, one of the reasons I want to show you how to do this cover page is because, I don't know about you, but when I see this beautiful cover, this black beautiful cover, and then I open it up and it's white pages, it's just like bam, it's just a stark contrast. And I think this book would be much better suited if it was a blackout journal, like the spell books. Open up to a blank page. There we go, the blackout pages. So that would have been better if it opened up with that rather than white. This also had some beautiful gold foiling on there, but silver would have worked as well. So that's going to be the main takeaway that I want you to take away from this video, is how to change the colour of your pages to practically any colour that you want without bulking up the planner too much. Because you could quite literally just paint each and every page, but that will bulk up the planner quite a bit. And obviously using wet media, it's going to crinkle the paper. So I'm going to show you how to change the colours of the papers to practically any colour that you want, really. Obviously I'm going to be keeping it on theme with Dracula. So let's just start applying this alizarin crimson. I just want a little bit. I hate when it gets dry bits. I say a little bit and then I put a lot down. To be honest with you, I could probably use these straight out of the tube, but I just don't want it to be crack or be too bulky on the page. So I don't want it to be too much. So I just put 1 drop of water on there. Oh, ice cream van's here. It is October, I swear. Not the summer. And then just break down this colour a little bit more, so it's not going to apply to the page so thickly. And I've used the brush I'm going to paint with, which is not a good idea. Let's just take a lot of that paint off. In fact, I've just realised this paintbrush is too big. Too big, I tell you. Yeah, so I'm going to change out using the angle shader and use an Etcher number 2 round brush instead. So let's just wash that off and see the beautiful pigment come off in the water. And let's just get some paint on this brush. So I'm literally just going to go in and start filling in these branches without trying to lay the pigment too thick. She says laying it quite thick. And I'm not being too careful with the lines. I'm happy to go over the lines because it will be covered again. And at the end of the day, it's a spooky kooky tree. It is supposed to not be straight, so I'm not too worried about that. I think the thing that I am more anxious about is keeping the negative space between the branches. So that's my main sort of objective, I would say. Again, this is going to take me forever with that brush. Always having fun with brushes. So now I'm going to try a number 4 flat shader Princeton brush. Because I do find flat brushes are easier to manage than round brushes. Famous last words. Yeah, there we go. The great thing with these is you can twist and turn them so you can get super fine lines, and then you can get quite thick bold strokes in one go as well, just by simply twisting the brush in the angle of the brush. And also I think the paint goes on much more evenly than round brushes. Okay, so let's leave that to dry for a moment. Next up, we are going to get rid of all of this white, which is a scary thing. And it is so simple though. And all we're going to do is put pastel all over the thing and then blend it all out. That is all we're going to do. That's why I've made the bats and the bloodline, the fonts black, so I can still see it through the pastel. And then I know where to apply the silver. So let's give that a go. I just put on quite a lot. All over the place, all over the tree, all over everything. You can always add more. I'm just going to use some tissue to blend it all out. So already that is a massive, massive change. I'm just going to put on another layer. Obviously this is not pastel paper, so it's not going to take too many layers, but I just want to get that colour just a little bit more cohesive. And then this time I'm going to use my fingers. Yeah, we'll get a better effect with the fingers. Always the fingers. Probably should have put some paper underneath to stop the pastel getting on over things, but well, I learned from my mistake. So yeah, just giving that a good coating everywhere. But as you can see, the silver bats are still shining through. happy with that. So now what I'm going to do is clean up the side and then apply some fixative to keep that in place. So just knock off any extra dust. So let's get a close-up of what this looks like. So as you can see, you can still see the bats shining through, and you can just make out my design. Now with the tree, the reason why I did it red and not black is because I wanted it to be ever so faint, and I wanted the font and the bats to really stand out. But I didn't want to leave it blank either, so this is what it looks like before the fixative. So now all I'm going to do is move some stuff out of the way and give the can a good shake, and we're just going to apply a couple of layers of fixative just to fix all of that pastel. Just let that soak up for a bit. Don't know why, but I always feel like wafting it makes it so much better. But as you can see, clean hand-ish, kind of, a little bit. Clean hand. Okay, so now that's had 3 coats of fixative, let's get on with trying to use the liquid chrome. If not, you could just use a silver gel pen. It's just, I like using the chrome because I think it's going to get a better effect than the others. Famous last words. So you can unscrew the cap of the chrome. And then pull off the plastic top. Then we've got the barrel. And hopefully I'm trying to turn this camera a little bit better. So what I do with the pipette is squeeze some in and then drop it into the pen like so, and then hopefully there's going to be enough. Now I probably should have put pastel away for this, but we shall see. So let's start. I should really use this on a test piece of paper. Famous last things. Here's one I made earlier. So yeah, that's coming out nicely. So let's start. But yeah, this is going on very nicely. I'm just a little bit worried about the time because I think it'll dry very quickly. I'm just conscious of that. Should really work from the top down. That would be the better thing. And here's our completed Dracula cover page. And as you can see, I've been leaning on the pastel and there's nothing on my hand because the fixative has done its job. So yeah, highly recommend the Sennelier fixative. Bloodlines and Chronicles, Dracula's literary legacy. I hope you enjoyed this process as much as I did. If you try this at home, share your creations with me in the comments or tag me on social media. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for more spooky art. Until next time, keep creating.